We're going to talk about
Jitsu.
Cable grip flex.
Jitsu.
Jitsu.
Jujitsu.
How come I sound super Mr. Miyagi when I say it?
I don't think it's natural. Very natural.
That reminds me of the Joe Coy when he breaks down all the different Asians by their accent. And he's like,
he's so good at that.
Old Asian Japanese people are always like, oh, that's what I felt like I just sounded like.
That is Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi's Japanese, right?
I have no idea.
Some Asian you are.
I was born in San Diego. I think I lost all my Asian credibility right when that happened.
I eat Korean food.
That makes you Korean?
Yeah.
Okay, there.
I'm welcomed by them.
Okay.
I eat all food. No picky. I'm not picky at all.
Yeah,
you know
good.
this. Kimchi pork belly stew, right?
Yeah, Andrew's mom makes the best. That's like my comfort food. That's like I guess chicken noodle soup when people are sick.
I slept good that night.
That's amazing.
Really good. Both times I've had it.
Grandma cooking, man. You can't
Your
beat
grandma
that.
cooking, dude. Jeez.
Yeah.
I could go for it right now. But we will be doing jujitsu. Let's bring the underground to light. That's what I'm calling this episode.
So, backstory of Underground. We're trying to create a little club.
Are we allowed to talk about it though?
It's not a fight club, bro.
Oh, okay.
It's not that serious.
Your first post, I was like,
first
am I allowed to tell anyone about this?
Yeah, so I'm getting back into jiu-jitsu, and it's been like 11 years. When we first started doing like CrossFit off the internet, we had a group of people that came to my garage in Poway. It's a 3-car garage, so we had the blue mats down and stuff, and we would do CrossFit together. We didn't get CrossFit level 1 certified.
So these blue mats are symbolic.
Yeah, it's been around. I posted some of those videos. Like, they've been around forever.
You're the new Mr. Miyagi now.
Getting people to wax and wash the car and be like, hey man, this is good for you, I swear.
Wax and wash the gym instead.
Dude, we should have the FixFit. Well, we joke around about that tonight.
Already at the mopping.
We mop every night. This
Yeah.
is an oblique workout.
Yep.
So back then, we weren't affiliated. We didn't have CrossFit level 1s, but we just worked out together following what they call .com because they post workouts every day.
Illegally.
And exactly. We called ourselves CrossFit Underground.
Couldn't come to light, dude. It's illegal.
No, we can't. We would have got sued.
We would have got sued by CrossFit.
And then we made shirts and CrossFit Underground. So now, like, starting this process, we're just getting a group of people. It's like going back and recreating the beginning stages of CrossFit.
Let's go back to the 90s, bro.
It was, 11,
Let's go into the dark.
12 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Well,
before
that's
the
not
gym
90s,
started... No, not at all.
Early 2000s?
Something like that.
Is that, do you think, when it started?
You know, when you and I do math here, it's not good.
Oh, yeah. It's not good. I always think of, like, early 2000s. I think of UFC. I don't know. Like, it's weird that I could compartmentalize what year it is by.
The UFC
2003 is probably, like, Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, right? Like, that era.
Yes.
It's still new at that point, MMA
sure.
at least, and jiu-jitsu. And
man, looking at those old videos that we watched like live, when you look back and they're all wearing different shorts,
baggy
they're not
shorts,
sponsored by anything.
Dude, those baggy
tap out shorts.
Yeah, tap out. I wonder if they're even around anymore. But yeah, anyways.
So the gym started like that, and we didn't have a name. We didn't have a name for it, so we got certified, made it an official business in the garage and whatnot, and then it's called CrossFit Sun, right? Yeah. So now I'm thinking like, man, this is kind of the same type of vibe. Like, we're building a community from its grassroots.
Yeah. 1 or 2
people at a time, and we already have like a good 6 or 8 people trying to do jiu-jitsu with us.
We allowed to drop names because it's top secret, dude.
It's underground. Well,
if you want, you're the one talking about it.
If you want to find out who's there, you just got to show up.
This is true.
It's open to everyone.
Yeah.
So before the gym even started in my garage, it was my brother and I would do MMA and jiu-jitsu, and we would teach people, like, just friends, and we had a couple kids that wrestled in Poway. It was like open mat, and we were just really looking for sparring partners. We did it with our cousin Danny.
Let's get fucked up.
Yeah, it was.
Come in here.
It was a lot more sparring probably than the learning, but after a while you start to, someone new comes in, then like how it always works is you have to start teaching them shit, right?
Right.
They don't know anything, and you want them to stay around.
Right.
And then so that was my first real introduction to coaching, and I think that's where it helped a lot to coach complex
That's
movements.
the big learning curve for a coach, right? Like oh shit, I have a good group going, and someone brand new comes in and you can't just keep going.
You don't scare them off or kill them, because I mean, what's the point, right?
But then you can't start over, because then your existing members are like, dude,
exactly,
again, like.
I really attribute that, like having that eye for coaching in FixFit or CrossFit. That's where it all started, because you had to break down body parts to a brand new person that doesn't know anything. It's like, okay,
assess the person too.
You have
quickly.
to assess base, and you have to tell them where to put their hands and how to do this choke or how to escape, and each piece
person have the mobility to
they
even
learn
fucking get into this position right now.
Yeah, you can't say like, hey, like we did some 10th Planet stuff, or like put your leg in mission control. Like, what if some guy can't even put their leg up? Then you have to go to modifying it.
Right. And so it began.
And then I transitioned into fitness because, it's hard to keep sparring partners, and I had 2 kids at that point, young kids at that point, and then I was like, I can't make money fighting.
Right.
I did, back then I remember I did a jiu-jitsu comp, and it was a Grappler's Quest, UFC 100. So when they made to 100, they had like a big expo, and the grappling quest was in there too, so that was a cool experience. I got a picture of Ramino Sato.
Which one's that?
Dude, you guys probably, it's like
Saito.
So it's like this old school like MMA guy before even like the Chuck Liddell era.
Oh,
I'll post up. Yeah, I watched VHSs of him in these like smaller shows. Ramino.
Oh, Ramino.
Sato. They call him the Wolf or something. But he was.
I feel like
he's kind of like the Sakuraba before Sakuraba.
I like Sakuraba a lot.
So I had a photo of that guy. So this is how far like I've gone back in terms of like the MMA world.
Nope, I got Japanese racing driver. So we'll just look that up later. Fine, definitely not that guy.
Now you got pop-ups in.
What?
So anywho, fast forwarding it to what we're doing here. Doing jiu-jitsu back then, and we went to a couple different schools and that, but mainly we trained in our garage with buddies, especially my brother and I, and then we would just drill and practice a lot, and so the way I learned and practiced jiu-jitsu was that where it's a lot more hands-on in a small group, where we just sit there and break down techniques and just drill, and it's different nowadays. The way it's taught is a lot more structured to offer it to the masses.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how CrossFit started, right? There was like...
That's where CrossFit could be at.
Yeah, everyone would come in, and now it's about volume, because you need to pay rent, and it's like... It's more...
Jump in and sink or swim.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good mentality for a big gym.
Because you have to keep it fun, and people like to work out hard. People like to roll, so...
Right. But the longevity of that is not great.
And the learning is a lot slower,
Oh, yeah. That makes sense, because
my son's been in jiu-jitsu for a year and a half. And then same thing, it's like he's just part of the hamster wheel. You go through the class and the structure, because there's a lot of kids, so there's nothing wrong with it. Well, he's just not learning anything.
That's a good point.
He's there point. And he's getting fitness. Yeah. He does get introduced to certain things, but...
Because how many of us did karate or TKD as a kid?
Oh my gosh.
Like 100%?
Like some people did kung fu, karate, taekwondo.
Everyone was in that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like that anymore. Maybe it still is, but we all at least tried it.
Yeah.
And went, what the hell was that? Like,
it was like a blur, right?
It's a blur. I don't even remember any of that. I do remember we had an old school instructor that like would knock us down. And my mom was like, we're out.
We're done. We're done. You're not here just to kick my son in the face.
We're like real little, because I barely remember it, but he would like knock us to the ground and be like, that's how you learn. And she was like, nah.
It's a good way to put it. If you go to like a jiu-jitsu school and you've never done jiu-jitsu, it really becomes a big blur. Dang said it yesterday. She's like, because we had people going, and then she's like, I took 2 classes and all I got from it was I just know how to shrimp. Like, because everything else was a blur.
Which she's athletic and came from a martial arts background. She'd be like, I could shrimp all over this goddamn mat right now. What does that mean for this sport?
Yeah,
she probably shrimped easy.
Yeah, she has a huge martial arts background.
Hoodley too said that he's like, oh, I was like, you have a gi, right? You could just bring it. I remember him winning one. He's like, I went to like 3 classes somewhere, and that was it. He was just like, I don't want to. It was just too much at once.
I think what happens is that I say it all the time now, it's just like the demographic of people wanting to learn jiu-jitsu are usually like 18 to 25, I'm guessing, the majority of it, because they're either like ex-wrestlers from high school or collegiate wrestlers, or they're in the military, or they want to be fighters, right? So those, like, once you get a lot of those people in the same environment, it's like fucking sink or swim.
I've had a few college kids I treat, and I say college kids meaning like 19 to 20, and
for sure,
no grappling background, just like, that sounds good for like self-defense.
Yeah.
Like, we should just go there and learn to, like, how to defend myself if something goes down.
And that's been proven now with the UFC and a lot of videos.
Yeah.
Gracie University. It's like people know that if you want to kind of just be more confident, you're not learning Kung Fu anymore. Karate. You're fucking learning how to take someone down or to get out of it if someone takes you down, you know, like in terms of self-defense too. So jiu-jitsu is growing in popularity.
I should try to get my first instructor for jiu-jitsu on, because he would we had patches that said martial arts life, because he would promote lifestyle. He'd be the same way, like, this is a lifestyle. Yeah, you can, the positive sides are you're stronger, you can defend yourself, this and that. He's like, but this is a lifestyle. He came from a martial arts background with like TKD, I think he did.
Yeah.
But then he was into boxing, and then he was in jiu-jitsu, freaking like couple degree black belt probably by now. And I mean, he got his black when I was with him, but probably 2 or 3 degrees up now. I think he said 3rd maybe. And then now catch wrestling I told you about. Yep. So he's like, that's the martial art life. He's like us, taking those seminars. And he took catch wrestling seminar. Now it's implemented into his jiu-jitsu game.
And I've talked to a lot of black belts recently, but it's like those are what we call true martial artists, because their whole journey as a martial artist is to keep learning, like Bruce Lee, right? They learn from everywhere. Yep. They're trying to fine-tune their jiu-jitsu, karate, taekwondo, but they're still open to learning and trying new things.
What about Miles? 12 gyms, he said in our podcast?
Oh my gosh.
I've been to 12 gyms. He has like no affiliate. His black belt's under a huge, like, famous gym.
Yeah.
And he like downplays it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm not there now, so I mean, I got it there.
It's like a journeyman.
Oh, you just got your black belt at Guerrilla Jiu-Jitsu, Dave Camarillo? Yeah, no big deal. But I'm not there now. I'm just.
But he also was all over to get there, you know, like blue here, purple there.
But that's the martial art life right there, that he's just like, he can float all over the place and no one's making him sign an allegiance somewhere.
Yeah.
Because that's where you, as a jiu-jitsu athlete, you have to pledge your allegiance to one, and that could scare you away and get you out of the game.
I think that's because it's tradition, you know?
Yeah.
Because martial arts is a fighting sport.
Respect.
It's respect, and there is a lot of proof, you know, concept, you know? Like, we're wrestlers, you know, we're stand-up, we're Muay Thai, like UFC, right? Obviously, when you promote your gym to be academy, to be the best, then there's a lot of that, like,
we're
ego.
A competitive gym. But all the parallels you see with CrossFit going, you know, no, it's not, there's no longevity with that. So all the rise of jiu-jitsu gyms around here, same thing. Like, if they're paralleling with that, how can you deviate away and continue to thrive?
It's the business model of CrossFit and jiu-jitsu is the same.
Right.
It's a community-based business model. You're teaching really high-level skills. That's fun, and there's intensity to the movements.
Yeah.
So it becomes dangerous, you know? So if you learn, you know, a lot of the popularity of jiu-jitsu is happening. It's peaking now, so there's a lot more schools out.
Yeah.
But they're going to learn in probably 3 to 5 years, that honeymoon phase we keep talking about. They'll be like, wow, I get 20 new people to try my jiu-jitsu school. Maybe one stay. And, you know, and then sooner or later, their injury, and then they're going to start chasing numbers because they have to pay rent and payroll.
Right.
You can't escape that. And so what I've seen the difference is that CrossFit gyms, there's many that open, a lot have closed because they didn't figure that out, right? They're like, instead of saying you have to hit RX, you have to go, your squats all have to go below parallel, it doesn't count. You have to abide by the CrossFit game standards. You know, you have to teach these movements that you were taught, like a sumo deadlift, high pull. And then once you realize, like, why do you have to do that when people are getting hurt? Like, our gym, we don't do box jumps.
Yeah.
Like, step up. There's other ways to, like, we'll do a slam ball throw over your shoulder to get that hip power. But you're not getting people to cut their shins open and quitting, you know? So I think that parallel of understanding that, you know, there's a need for people to learn CrossFit and to do it in a safer realm. than to like how we used to do it, which like the tradition of pukey is like you push it so hard you just throw up all the time, you know?
I want to get a better vertical, bro.
Yeah.
Check out these box jumps. I'm like, when am I ever gonna get a good vertical?
And you know that's where it's hard because what they see on TV is what gyms want to kind of emulate, like the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
And so now jiu-jitsu's parallels. They see all these big profile fights, the big, you know, whether it's Fight to Win or ADCC or all these big comps, jiu-jitsu comps that are now like either streamed online or Eddie Bravo has a bunch of combat jiu-jitsu. It's like they see what the pros are doing, and then they think that's the demographic that they're training, coaching. But no, like nowadays, if you want your jiu-jitsu academy or like a CrossFit gym to survive, you're going to get really more so like the 35, 40 plus demographic because they can afford it, right? They're paying the $200 a month. They don't want to fucking get hurt. They don't want to get 3 rounds of 5-minute rolling and get fucked up by some ex-wrestler, ex-judo guy that wants to just fucking take out some stress on you, you know?
Yeah.
So I think one of the main reasons I'm just creating this environment is because I just like the way.
How are you bridging that gap?
I'm bridging that gap because I believe that in an hour of drilling or rolling with intention is going to get you more than a general 1-hour class. And that's just for me in terms of what my intention is, you know, because I'm not trying to create a new model that is going to like battle or combat like the traditional model where you start under a professor at an academy, you work your way from white belt all the way to black belt, and then there's lineage and all that. That's super important. I think that's awesome. I'm still looking for that. But in the meantime, I'm busy. I'm already doing CrossFit. I have my own business. I have 3 kids. I just want to roll and practice twice a week.
Yeah.
And work on the things I want to work on.
And we have the space for it.
I have the space. Back then it would have been my garage. Well, now the gym's kind of the garage.
Yeah.
And so I want to like practice the things I want to practice because in that hour I'm working on things I suck at. I'm working on skills I want to get better at. So if I'm a terrible armbar person, I'll never use armbar in defense or in competition or rolling buddies. Like if it was an armbar class at some academy, it was kind of just goes over my head. You know, that hour, my valuable hour that week, I would have wasted.
So basically you're providing a platform and a space, a safe space really, to be like, come try it, right? What if you get...
Yeah, there's no rolling in our little squad or Jiu-Jitsu Underground because that's when everyone gets hurt, and when you start rolling, there's no... you stop learning.
Okay, so I could speak from experience on... You're running a parallel also with Jiu-Jitsu World in terms of that... There's members in a jiu-jitsu gym that, like you said, got effed up or, oh, my gym closed down, let me go to another one. But if I go to another one as a purple belt, I have a mark on my back and I'm going to have to get effed up because I'm at the back of the line.
Of all the purple belts.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to go work my way up that ladder. And I just don't want to. I'm a 50-year-old dad and I don't want to fucking work up the purple belt ladder to get my brown belt. I just want to get a brown belt because I'm a martial artist and I love jiu-jitsu and I just want to do it 2-3 times a week with my buddies out of my garage because I got a friend that is like that. The way to still have both worlds combined, and this is something to just kind of brainstorm with, is to still do privates.
Yes.
So what I did with my first instructor when I moved back to San Diego, I was like, I freaking miss jiu-jitsu. Unfortunately, he's running his gym out of his garage as well because he's providing, like, he's tired of that business environment in a commercial building.
Yeah.
I won't go too much further into that because it's like I would like him to share why sometime. But he's like, I'm still doing privates in my garage. I'm like, sweet, let me stop by. And he's like, yeah, hey, so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so still coming here like twice a week. And those guys are getting belt promotions. And I went, well, that's pretty cool. Like, so you're still moving up that belt rank and still following that jiu-jitsu world under your instructor who's giving you programming, things to work on, rather than you. I mean, us right now, we're excited watching YouTube and stuff, but it's like, if you're like, oh, dude, I really want to get to that next belt level or whatever it is, an instructor can help you with privates. And that's where I was like, let me try it. And I did it once and then 2 or 3 more times. And I was like, dude, this is freaking awesome. But it was hard for me to get, he's all the way in Carlsbad. So that's a long drive for us from where we're at over here in the in Poway. But anyway, I have another buddy who does the same thing. He just meets with his instructor like once a month. And he's like, work on these things. And then he gets together with his buddies in his garage and he works on those things and gets better that way.
Yeah.
So if you have that space, like you're saying, and if you feel like, I mean, this is talking in the future, a little bit ahead, but if somebody's like, dude, I'm like really loving this, I want to roll, I want to get another belt, what do I do? We got to find instructors for them, and we have plenty out there that can meet at the gym and give them a private lesson. You have the space, right?
It's exactly the same thing where the main intention is to allow people to experience jiu-jitsu on a safe environment and not scary environment. So you don't have to do your first class and there's 3 5-minute rolls at the end of class. It's kind of like CrossFit starting at a park or garage. Everyone's going to come in, you do a WOD together. There's no ego, you know you're new. But if you want to get better at CrossFit and you want all the bells and whistles and all the equipment, you have to go to a CrossFit gym.
Yes. You
have to go get coaching. If you want to get better, we did CrossFit a long time.
You need the equipment.
And then we finally got better Olympic lifting coaching. Then we learned that. You need coaching.
Sure.
So this isn't the point. This is definitely like a safe place where you can practice jiu-jitsu with, your buddy, with a coach that you bring in or a professor, It's like a open park basketball court. Where people could come in and just shoot around. Or you can have someone at that open basketball court teach you some stuff, You can take your kids there. It's just like, but there's no ego, there's none of the mindset of like, oh, you come here so you can't go there. Or how come you're here with this person, If you take privates and if you go to a jiu-jitsu school, which a couple people in our crew still do, which is perfect. I like that.
Good, yeah.
Because they can take their one-on-ones with their professor, and then after your one-on-one, guess what? You should be practicing that shit because you just spent a good amount of time and money on it.
Right.
But there's no place for you to practice.
Because remember what I just told you, that I went to the 2 brown belts?
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you want to work on, Ian? And I was like, show me something. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, like everything. I was like, top, bottom. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, I need all of it,
Yeah.
And that's why even with you, in the gym, I've gone up to you and been like, dude, this shoulder's a little tweaked, and I think I know what I should do, but I need programming. That's just me personally. I'm very structured. I need that. I'm very coachable too, to be like, Ian, if you do the X, Y, and Z, you'll get this, and I'll go fucking do it twice, because I want that. So I would be the type that's gonna get, I'm gonna practice there all the time, but I want an instructor to meet with me and go like, all right, this is what I'm seeing in your game that you're missing. Next, in the next month, you need to practice this, and because then when you show up with those brown belts, they're like, hey, Ian, what do you want to work on? Well, I'm working on a guard pass right now. I'm working on finishing this arm bar from a side mount. Let's rep this out now, because that's what you need in jiu-jitsu is a lot of reps.
So here in jiu-jitsu, like a coach and a client, or coach and member, or professor and student is a unique relationship, right? And you have different teaching styles and you learn. So this Jiu-Jitsu Underground, this little mat space, is really like an open mat model, where it's like, if you can learn from your brown belt buddy and that's a person you want to learn from, it's perfectly fine that both of you guys come in and he's coaching you, he's doing a private, whatever, right? Like, you're bringing him and you guys have an area where you guys can meet up and train. And that's kind of the idea. And it's like, if you learn best with just a random buddy, then do that. But it's okay. Like, it's encouraged to get one-on-ones and to learn more. Yeah. But it's just that environment or that space isn't available in most places. You can take your beginner class or your or advanced class or no-gi class, and then you're done because the next class has to come in.
Those instructors will. I've been at a big gym before too, where they're like, we're available for privates, and if you approach them and it's at the gym, it comes with a premium. And like you said, you're already paying $200 a month to go there. Yeah. And you're like, you're gonna charge me what? For a one-on-one?
And again, I would say it's still worth it, but then it's only worth it that like Chris Kressers or whatever, like you get all this information, but if you don't apply it, right? It's just just information. So if you pay that premium and you learn because you paid your professor a good amount for it, you should be drilling the fuck out of that, because that's fucking golden nuggets that have developed.
So let's say someone does go, pay $200 a month, all right, it's going to cost me $200 for a private. Yeah. Okay, let me just fork it out and do it. And he's like, work on this next month, we'll meet again next month. And you go, oh shit, I'm at $400 again next month.
But then again, when do you get time to work?
Exactly. At the end of class, it's already an hour. We talk about this all the time with FixFit, that you do the 1 hour WOD, you want to freaking go home, you want to mop up, go home and eat dinner, go to bed. You can't sit there and do FixFit Jack by yourself. Like, you got to program for yourself some rep time.
And that's pretty much it. This is just starting like the garage days, is providing an area where people could come in after work and we'll do a workout together. That's as simple as it gets. The benefits is really, when you go, from what I've seen, it's like if you go in and you don't have a good quality training partner that you've built up with, taking privates together or just drilling with, that increases injury rates substantially. So I'm working with Bob a lot because our times meet up and we have a space now. It's like we're drilling with intention. I'm working on, should I suck out? We're working on things that we don't understand, but it's controlled chaos. We're not going to get hurt. You leave there feeling good.
And they're lucky they have you as a coach there to be like, if two guys showed up that knew nothing about jiu-jitsu, they could at least ask, like, hey, Mark, what are you guys doing? Can I do the same thing?
Yeah.
At least it's just the warm-up and the drilling that they can get the familiarity of how it feels to roll on some mats.
Yeah, and it's just like that. Number one is the, making sure you reduce injury rates, because that takes people out of their potential love of it. You get the jiu-jitsu bug. But if you get a bum shoulder from 1 or 2 classes, you're not going to want to go back.
Yep. Yeah, our immediate feedback so far has just been like, that was fun. I feel good. My core is sore. We had 2 people on one of our Sundays that we did. Just meet up, guys. This is day 1. 2 people. My abs were sore the next day.
Yeah.
And I was like, my first day, I felt like I had a concussion. And my neck, I couldn't turn my neck the next day.
Eddie Bravo's first day, he tells his story. He went into Jean-Jacques Machado's gym and he got tapped out 38 times by a blue belt. Old school.
That's old school shit.
Yeah, right? But can you imagine that?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I would have just been like, I don't want to go back.
He murdered me for 38 rounds.
And then now, to flash forward to 2 members going, my abs were sore.
It was fun.
That was fun. Yeah. I felt good the rest of the day because once your abs are on, your lower back's less tense, and you just walking around feeling like your posture's a little better.
Yeah.
And what else? I can't wait to do it again. And it's like, what? All we do is like a little hour thing of just warm-ups, and people are like, I'm hooked. Let's do it again. Let's meet up.
That's all it is, right? This is not an against jiu-jitsu's traditions. This is another resource to build more people, more interest.
Yep.
And when we get all these people that are interested, and then there's no promise of like, this is the way you learn everything. It's not.
Right.
You just get an introduction. And now what I want to do is like the FixFit model. It's like, I want you to learn how you learn the best.
And then if you want to get optimal,
exactly. Then you do your coaching, or maybe you do. Maybe you're
join a gym. Go join a gym. Yeah.
There's so many online protocols, and there's so many, just like everything else, right? But at least the intention's there, where it's a safe place and it's not.
So I can't drop DJ on his head there because I fucking want to.
Yeah, that's not different.
Just intention. One double leg, dude. Just give me one.
And then I think the melting pot is going to be pretty awesome because we're sharing a lot of info with people that, like, R goes to the 10th Planet, Danny goes to Gracie Poway.
And Danny's a blue belt that's very knowledgeable. He's a coach.
Yeah.
He's a CrossFit coach that understands FixFit mentality and movement.
And he's competing and training at age 50. So it's like, there's just a wealth of, that's how it should be, a shared knowledge amongst you walk the journey together. And that's what I want to build and share knowledge, So it's like a very, it's open mat, but it has controlled principles.
Controlled chaos is the perfect word.
Controlled chaos. That's what we're doing. And
you need someone to hold your hand. I want you to hold my hand.
No, thank you.
It's a good quickie.
So if you're just interested or have been interested in jiu-jitsu and whatever your hurdles are, your reservations, then I want to be that
Come
gap.
Get tapped. No, I'm just kidding.
Just hit us up and we'll talk you through it. We're trying to do one session Sunday, and for me I integrate a lot of just the FixFit drilling mentality into it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the right muscles on, you're not going to be able to do the technique safely.
That's why people's abs got sore.
Yeah, we're doing some basic things that look like a hip sweep.
Dude, and if you're any FixFitter listening that's been doing hip ups, I saw, just shout out Leslie real quick, to watch her drive her hips in the air and turn in an Oompa on her first day ever.
Yeah.
I was like, you're a natural. And she was just like, well, if you think about it, we're just doing a hip up.
Yeah.
And then I turn my body.
It's
and I'm like,
oblique stuff.
But I was like, people do that with their lower back all the time. They don't even know how to push their feet flat on the mat. Yep. And you're driving already, because she's been doing FixFit for a couple of years. And I'm like, I've never seen anybody jump in, especially in grappling, of any sort. Wrestling, like, they have no base. Like, as soon as they go to do that, they fall over because they don't know how to plant their body and operate on, like, on 3-leg system, right? Like, she like feet and shoulder on the mat.
Yeah.
People tip over, and she was like doing it no problem. I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I asked her if she was sore in her neck from, like, practicing like passes, and she saw my abs. Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah, no trap soreness. Where every
zero.
First 3 months, as you treated a lot of people,
no
first
low
3
back.
months in jiu-jitsu, they have the same trap, shoulder,
I see it all the
low
time
back
still.
issue.
Yeah. I tweaked my neck in practice.
So that's kind of the benefit of our, I guess, underground, is that we do have that fixed fit practice mentality, because then, we're solving problems. Because if your armbar sucks and you're going to a school or you're doing privates or you're just practicing, you're going to practice and fine-tune your armbar. Yeah. But we go on a deeper level of like, okay, if your knee hurts and your back hurts and you're taking a lot of days off with jiu-jitsu, it's another open mat space where you can share info with all these people here that are knowledgeable about both, and then you're going to work on glutes, obliques, whatever it is, and then you get back to rolling longer, and then you
get tapped. Yeah. It's no big deal.
At least your knee won't hurt. Tapping's fine.
Tap before it hurts, guys. Don't ever have an ego with it. I was just like, dude, I'll tap, and who gives a shit? I'm not going to dislocate my jaw or elbow for this shit.
Yeah, no,
I gotta go to work tomorrow.
That's, again, I'm 35, 12 years ago, I'm like the early 20s kid, so like I'm learning how to, like, CrossFit, I'm learning how to train strength and conditioning and interval training like CrossFit safer, so I could do it forever, and now it's on the same path of what I've learned in the 12 years of CrossFit to now apply to jiu-jitsu, and I'm stoked.
Just think Danny's 50 and just starting that. Yeah. Imagine 15 years for you.
You know what I'm saying? And
that's crazy.
Like drilling and practicing this way.
People get a black belt in that time, man. It's crazy.
And even though I say we don't roll, you're rolling with intent. Chewy Jiu-Jitsu has a good video on that. Like, it's not that we don't roll, but it's like it's controlled stimulus. Like if we're working on like guard passes, we're gonna slow it down and then we're gonna speed it up, and you're gonna give me more resistance. But that's like the intent of that drill. Yeah. There doesn't need to be like, all right, you pass my guard and we keep going for another 5 minutes, because the rest of that is just eyes are red and I'm just trying to tap you.
That's what I always want to do, man. Fuck it.
And you can do that if you want.
I'm just kidding. All right, man. Let's go do it right now, actually.
Yep, that's where we're headed. I'm fucking stoked.
Quickies, and now to go actually get on a mat and roll with each other. Oos.